Lightning and thunder were happening. I was trying my best to get some sleep. Hamlet and I hiding in our bedroom. Me still missing a toe. Still a little peeved about that fella claiming to be my uncle as well. He didn't even get the name right, but Hamlet was looking a bit underfed as well. But I'm sure he'd be alright. Poor old boy. Crazy days. Can't keep track of what he's doing. My robots doing their job, hauling, cleaning, keeping up with stuff real nice. Lightning struck, started my hay patch on fire, which was not ideal considering all these animals I had around here. So I put that out, sat to research. One of the muffaloes gave birth. Never ends, man. Never ends. So I researched and researched, trying to get some gun turrets figured out. Wasn't sure how far to take this beyond the basic gun turret. I could probably figure out better ones. But for now, see what I can sort out. It was raining outside anyways, and I didn't want to be out there. Those cryptosleep caskets over there still calling my name though. Who knows what's in them? It's just a matter of time before my curiosity gets the better part of me on this one. But for now, our focus has to be research. I found a timber wolf and a warg and gotten into a crazy battle. Looked like the timber wolf got the worst of it, but the warg wasn't going to make it either. Crazy rabbit came running on in, killed itself on one of my traps. Never ceases to amaze me, these animals. Never quite figure out. Stay the heck away from humans. About that time, someone contacted me, saying they were being chased by a whole load of people. I decided I wasn't going to get involved. I was going to work on some traps, in case some hostile people popped on out of them caskets. Knowing what I know about this planet, I don't expect anybody to be friendly. So some type of protection would be worthwhile. But it was time to sit down, take a breath. Hamlet was looking better, chunked out a little bit again. Apparently I starved him for a little while there, but what are you gonna do? Poor old boy. It's for his own safety. You let him run around, he's gonna get himself killed. That's gonna break my heart. I was building traps out by the cryptosleep caskets, stepping on dead insect exoskeletons, which were still laying around everywhere, but maybe I could get one of my robots to pick them up or something. My freezer broke down, one of them anyway, so I had to get that repaired. Then I had myself some milk, and I was off to sleep. There was a wild fella running around, butt naked. Had to be cold, with the volcanic winter on. Looked like he was jacked up on something, so maybe that's why he was doing so well. Not sure, but for now, not my problem. Maybe I'll go talk to that dude, see if I can make a normal person out of him at some point. When I woke up, there were animals to tend. I had quite the stable here. Maybe I'd have to consider building a bigger space for them. But I believe it's high time I got myself on out of this place. Once I figure out a little bit of research. I had a wanderer join me at that point. Had a crazy big weird looking mustache on him, which I rather appreciated in all honesty. Spiky crazy hair too. His name was Kirk. I thought about letting him hang out for a while. He's a little scarred up. Not too bad though, seemed like a decent chap. I debated it for a while, but in the end, I'm a loner, and that's how I want to stay. So he was going to have to get the boot at some point here. So I deconstructed ship chunks that had fallen down out of the sky, picked up the components from them, seeing as I was running a little bit short on those, and if I was going to build a bunch of guns, I was going to need them. I thought about leaving it up to the robots, but I didn't. Old Kurt was getting gung-ho. I thought about having him open up one of them caskets for me, but he was pretty ill-equipped should somebody come out of there mad, so I decided not to let him get himself killed. and I was ready. Come on in and do a little more research for the day. Kurt was still hanging out, despite me hinting I'd like him to leave, so I finally had to give him the straight talk, send him packing. And right about that time I finished figuring out how to make gun turrets. Then it was time to deal with animals. I'm in debate, getting involved opening a casket. I decided, you know what? It's high time I did this. So I ran around, opened them up. Sure enough, all kinds of people coming out hostile. One of them trying to shoot me, shot one of the other ones dead. One of them died on my trap. One of them was bashing up my door. One of them had really good armor on. I didn't think the traps were going to be very effective. I was shooting and shooting. We got into a hide and shoot match. Two of them had great armor, in fact, which meant my traps weren't as effective as I would have liked them to be. And I'd end up getting cracked pretty bad with a chain shotgun right in the torso. Fortunately, my flak armor was on. Wasn't doing me much favors though. Some girl named Carrie. Fortunately, she was sick. Crypto sleep sickness or something. So she wasn't the best shot like she should have been, probably. I was catching her, but she was so well armored it was difficult. We just hid there, giving each other the business. Not in the way you'd like to think about giving each other the business, probably, but my robot came on up to haul stuff right about the time Carrie went down and died. Sadly, I would like to take that gear off her, but wasn't meant to be. So I hauled a bunch of stuff as well. I was injured. I was going to certainly need some attention before too long. Hamlet came on up, helped me carry some components back. Such a good dog. He's a lot quicker than me now that I'm missing some toes. Shot up. So I had a little food. Decided I better tend myself in the darkest spot I could find for whatever reason. I was just eager. I left a mess everywhere. Sure enough, my little robot took care of it. I might have to give that little thing a name. I was patched up alright. Plants were coming in. Still raining. Volcanic winter. Weather just not what it should be around here. I decided I was going to do a bunch of disassembling now. I didn't need extra walls. I certainly didn't need those crypto sleep caskets. I was careful to leave a post in the middle. That building, just in case that ceiling needed it. I've already fallen victim to a falling ceiling. I shan't do that again. Turns out it does some decent damage to a fella. So I got the caskets ripped apart. There's a bunch of uranium in there. Maybe I could do something useful with that at some point here. Or just sell it off. I gotta do something about my toe. Hopefully I could just use my little healer serum, but we'll see. I decided to play some chess. Chill out for a little bit. But duty calls. There was a bunch of graves that needed digging. Always best to be prepared around here with some empty graves. Always going to be some moron coming around begging to be stuffed into one of them. So I dug a bunch more graves. Considered my crop situation, which was decent but not ready yet. And then I decided to do some deconstructing on my walls and my door that I'd built to contain whatever came out of that crazy old building. So I was reclaiming some granite, steel, marble, all kinds of stuff. And my dog, good old Hamlet, and my hauling robot were taking care of bringing it all in. So I went off to bed to see if I could heal up a bit. And I did, minus that toe shot off, which certainly wasn't going to regrow on its own. I was in pretty decent shape. I was over there planting, trying to get some rice in the ground so I could make a ton of pemmican. I was feeling like it was time to move on from this spot, as much as I loved it here. A crazy old piece of shit fell out of the sky, much as it happened before. There was 2 wild men running around though, and I was debating on recruiting those fellas. I could get them armed up with all the weapons that came out of those crypto sleep casket people's hands. Maybe they hate the robots too. So I was going to debate that for a little bit. While I got my rice planted, I ate some apples, had myself a little garden coffee, and more chunks of spacecraft were falling down around me, but fortunately, as I was relaxing in my guest room, they weren't the type that would have nasty little robots in them, and hopefully that big chunk would be benign as well, but I could already see bad effects happening around here. So I finished planting all my rice. I was going to be Pemmican City up in here before long. I decided to do some cleaning, so you know I was getting desperate. About that time a solar flare came on, and I decided I was going to see if I could figure out what was inside that ship. If I can't research, I might as well run on out. There wasn't a great location stalking that thing. The gun I have sure doesn't have the range I'd like it to. I gotta get my hands on a sniper rifle or something. So I ran around trying to find an optimum spot. Some meat was rotting away in my storage, which didn't make much sense since it should be frozen. And while I was shooting that ship, a manhunter pack showed up. It was a bunch of huskies frothing at the mouth, freaking out. I shot the ship. 3 robots popped out. 1 big one with the cutty arms, and 1 with a gun. And those huskies were pretty much perfect timing. They started chasing after them robots, and they all got into a big scrum. Sadly, the huskies didn't have much of a chance. All them dogs went down, and those robots didn't suffer too much damage, but 2 of them took some beating, so that's gonna make my job a little easier here. For the minute, I was off to bed. That was too much excitement for one day. Next day, I decided I was gonna talk to Lance, see his interest, trying to kill that robot, getting some nice clothes, food, and weapons. And it turns out he was into it. Oh, Lance decided to join me, so I got him set up. Probably have to make that fella some clothes. I was headed on in, and then it occurred to me Rogers is out there sleeping, butt naked, 30-something degree weather. So I decided to make some clothes first. Lightning struck, started my crops on fire. Seems like that happens a lot around here. I took a break, had a little garden coffee. I got back to making more clothing. Lance is getting hypothermic, which makes perfect sense, being that it was barely above freezing. He's running around desnudo. So I made some tribal wear. I was going to work on recruiting that other fella, so I made an extra one for him as well. Decided I better turn the heat on in Lance's bedroom if I didn't want him to freeze to death in there. Lance is going to need some treatment. Turns out he might have got a little frostbite, but not too bad. I think he'll be just fine. I was tossing some horseshoes, thinking about how this battle was going to go with these robots. Always worried about it. I decided to take Lance some food, even though he's well capable of getting up on his own. Then I got to the business of making some hats. Lance gonna want a nice warm hat, and I made an extra for Rogers while I was at it. That's what a good guy's gonna do. Hopefully I can get him on my side. He might be some crazy, loves them robots. When I went and checked on him, he had fallen down, frozen. Guy's about to die from the cold, man. I decided I was gonna rescue him. I didn't have a great spot to put him at the minute, but I could get him inside where it was warm, and that's rather important. He had some ambrosia, so I'm assuming he's got all kinds of addiction issues. Serious hypothermia as well. I was worried he was going to pass away, but he didn't. He did just fine. I got him brought in. He started healing up, warming up I should say, and then he decided to join me, which was fantastic. His first order of business, putting on some of them clothes I'd made him already. He got some tribal wear, got himself a hat, and he was much pleased. He even found a bed, set it up on his own and started using it, which is just fine with me. I mean, he could have picked a slightly better spot probably, but to each their own, I suppose. So we were all sleeping. I had a couple companions for the minute, and that was nice. Nice change of pace. Tomorrow, though, we're going to have to go out and have a battle against these robots. Roger's having a hard time. He's thinking about snapping already. Thought maybe I should cook some food. I did promise these fellas good food, good clothes, and I provided raw food and tribal wear. I let Rogers have a little bit of flake, yayo, whatever the heck it was. Don't matter to me. Never was much on drugs. It was about that time we decided to head on out, see about dealing with these robots. Maybe we could save these huskies yet. So Lance and I were hanging out. Rogers showed up. He picked up them EMP grenades. So we had a plan. We were going to get them in a pincer formation. Lance and I come at them from different sides. Rogers is going to chuck grenades at them, see if he can keep them stunned, while we give them the business with these guns. They caught wind. We were showing up. Came on out. Started trying to shoot at us. That didn't deter us too much. We backed up for the minute. Lance was taking his sweet time getting into position. And then he was there. And I was ready. Rogers was almost ready. So Rogers went on in first, being that he had the grenades and was going to stun the bastards. He was hiding pretty well, but not well enough. The one with the gun caught a beat on him, so he hightailed it on out of there pretty quick. Which I thought was funny, because I could see him over there. Think he'd pissed in his tribal wear. What do you expect, though? I was hoping these guys would do alright here. I didn't want to lose more friends like I had last time. Back on Earth, what got me into this whole disaster. Rogers ran on up. He started chucking grenades. So far, he's doing well. He hadn't been shot yet, even. I was figuring out where the best place to go was. Rogers stunned that thing. Bam. Lance giving the one with the shooty arms a business. Rogers was throwing grenades. He stunned the little one. He was going to try and stun the big one. I was shooting the little one that was stunned. Took it down. Lance was shooting the one with the scythe arms on it. Rogers needed to chuck them grenades a little faster, if you ask me. And he managed to stun the big one, but it got a hold of him pretty good with that gun. Down he went. Man, that thing sprays bullets like nobody's business. The other little one with the scythe arms got stunned as well. Lance crept around behind it, started giving it the pow-pow while I was giving it to the big one. And it seemed to be going much to plan, except that Rogers got taken out. I guess I could have let him wear my armor, but I don't want another man sweating in my armor. Lance dropped down the side of the armed one, and we all started giving the business. Well, not Rogers, but the other two of us giving the business to the big one. Hoping God we could get it done before it came back around. Rogers had left all kinds of stuff laying around. I decided to give word. My robot and my dog could come pick that up. Once we got this guy out of here anyway. It was starting to take a beat on me, so I buggered off. Lance was super close, so it turned on him. Cut loose. He took off running, but he had taken a shot by that point. Not too bad. He went running back, screaming, and he thought better of it. Then the thing turned to come after me. He ran on out with a war cry. Bam! That thing turned around and shot him dead, man. It was a sad moment for me, but in the heat of battle, you can only keep shooting. What are you going to do? Lance was dead. Rogers was down and injured. I need a rescue bot, man. Someone to take care of Rogers for me. I needed this guy dead, despite all the damage those dogs had done to him. Right about then, my hauler bot came up. That bastard robot shot my hauling robot. I guess there ain't no love lost between them two. So I was hanging out, waiting for him to come to me a little bit. Worried about Rogers, not sure what to do. I was pretty upset about Lance. And this big son of a bee wouldn't go down no matter what I did. Maybe I should try my other gun, but the range on it ain't that good. This guy probably had me dead as well by now. It's about that time. I think Rogers expired. I heard him give a death rattle, and he stopped moving. Both of my new friends, dead as a doorknob. Hamlet came running over, and that big son of a bitch turned to shoot him, and that's right when I took him out. If I would have lost Hamlet in this situation, man, I would have lost my mind. 2 friends down, and my dog. That's more than a man can bear. So, with all the robots down, I had to destroy this ship. It was killing all the vegetation again, freezing the ground. I stood next to Lance, poor dead bastard. He fought well, and no one could say he wasn't brave, that's for sure. I was gonna have to get some nice funeral arrangements put together for these fellas. Just like a day ago, they were wild men, running around butt naked, freezing. And now they're dead, because I talked them into fighting them robots. They seem pretty gung-ho, though. I didn't feel too bad. There's certainly worse ways to die. At least they didn't end up in some pirate dungeon somewhere getting tortured or whatever they do to people. So I hauled in some of the stuff that came from that ship. I was going to need some more blocks if I was going to make some proper resting areas for these fellas. I was going to also have to repair my robot. The hauler had taken a shot. Seemed like he stood up to it better than my fellas did. Took a little bit of steel, a little bit of silver. I got them fixed right up though. If only I could say the same about Lance and Rogers. Poor bastards. I had a zut. Power cable blew out in my wall. But since we've switched everything to steel and concrete and rock, ain't had any problems stuff burning down anymore. You only have to learn that lesson a couple times. About that time, a whole bunch of psychite teeth fell out of the sky, and I was certainly thinking about getting messed up on it, considering what had happened to my compatriots. I was going to put them in that old building, a couple sarcophagi in there, make them up real nice, close them in there, get the building all fixed up. And alpaca self-tamed about the time I was going to bed. And my lights were coming back on since the wind had picked up a bit. There was a mad raccoon come running at me. Man, the animals around here just love to lose their stinking minds, don't they? But you know he's gonna die on a trap. That's what the traps are for. I had Lance and Rogers laying in that ancient building. I was gonna need a bunch of blocks. Be able to build them what they needed there. I was gonna have to get them hauled up there, so I was figuring how I could make my robot do that. Or Hamlet even. And sure enough, I got it figured out between the two of them. They got the supplies hauled up there. I started working on one of the sarcophagus. While those two poor bastards were laying in the corner dead, starting to stink the joint up. Turns out, it's a lot of work to build these things. There was lots of huskies laying around too, so I got tired. I ran on in, took a husky on the way. I guess I'll take all the meat that I can, even if it is dog. At that time my crops were coming due, but I decided to prioritize getting a proper see-off to those two fellas. They passed on to the other side, and I very likely could have joined them. It's the least I can do for the help they gave me, the dedication they showed. And they were just good dudes. I got back on inside, had some apples, and I was off to sleep. I had a whole bunch of dead nasty animals laying around. Yorkies and huskies, goat, turkey, rat, rabbit. I was gonna have to do some butchering, make a ton of food. So I finished up the other sarcophagus. I got those guys planted in the ground. I got the walls all built, and then I closed them up in there. Rest well, fellas. I'll think about you sometimes. I was sitting there contemplating life and death in my guest room. Decided I was going to have a beer. Ease my mind a little bit. My mood was pretty crap. Those two fellas passing away. So I had a beer. I got to the business plucking food out of the ground for all these darn animals I got around here. My robot do a swell job of carrying it around though, so that's alright. I pulled hay out of the ground for a while. Decided to get to work on some pemmican. Not the most exciting thing I do, but it's gonna have to be done if I'm gonna travel, which I definitely am. Too many bad memories here now. So it was time to get to butchering. So many Yorkies, so many huskies, raccoons. I was gonna have some really nice clothes made out of husky. That'd be pretty fantastic. I haven't had a turkey come on in and got himself killed on one of my traps somewhere. So I butchered up all the dogs. It was a slow process. There was an alpaca in there as well. So much dog meat, man. A little bit disturbing in all honesty. While working on this stuff, I decided a machining table was going to be in order. I'd see if I could take some of these robots apart. Figure out what they're made of. Maybe I could find a secret to taking them bastards out. After I got all the butchering done, I decided it was time to hit the hay. And when I woke up, had a little bit of meat, raw, which was fine. So I had myself a garden tea. That's the way to mix it up a bit. And then I set to making pemmican. I was gonna need as much of it as I could make. Maybe I'd stop along the road, figure out a little more research. But for now, probably have to make some warm clothes before I head on out too. But my rice will be up before too long, despite the crappy weather for it. The animals are eating it like crazy. Funny how they avoid all the hay grass I planted for them. Eat my stinking rice all the time. And there were so many of these animals. I had my hands full trying to keep up with them all. If I could just turn a few of them loose, I'd probably do that in a heartbeat. I was out to bed after that, and I was going to have to call that another fine several days. Poor Rogers and Lance done passed away. Gonna lay in that place for the next couple thousand years like those crypto sleeps people had. I was still sweating my toe that was shot off. I have to figure that out later. For now, me and Hamlet were nice and cozy. For once, everything seemed alright. Nothing trying to kill me this exact minute. So I slept well as another night rolled on by.